Hi friends, my name is Emily and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be wrapping up the last few things that I read in October. There is a mid-month wrap-up that I will link you to above. In that video I talked about Disfigured by Amanda Leduc, A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik, The Low Low Woods by Carmen Maria Machado, Danny, and something. Tamara Bond villain, and The Age of Creativity by Emily Urquhart. There is a little bit of overlap with my Toronto International Festival of Authors video when it comes to Disfigured and The Age of Creativity, looking at it from a slightly different angle, I suppose, so I will link that as well. So I managed to read 3 additional books in October, and the first one that I finished was Bunny by Mona Awad. So this was a weird read and I still don't know how I feel about it. So this is the story of Samantha. She is a creative writing scholarship student and she attends this very prestigious art school called Warren. I think in part because of her different social class, she's very isolated from her peers in this writing program. She has a deep hatred of this group of girls that call themselves the Bunnies. They're like this sickly sweet group of friends who refer to each other as Bunny and who praise each other non-stop. She really hates them until they invite her to join their club. They're all in like the same writing seminar together, and so they invite her to take part in this collaborative project and things get really fucking weird. I spent most of the time wondering how much was drug-induced, how much was meta, and also like the critique of the academic setting is pretty harsh. The idea that people are working on these like subversive projects. I don't want to say what the project is that they're working on because I didn't read the back going into this book, so I knew nothing, so I was completely shocked by the project. I wish I had read this with a book club because I would love to see what other people take away from this. So if you have read Bunny, I would love to hear your thoughts on it. What did you think was going on? Does it speak to your experience of academia if you've been in a university or I think especially a grad studies program? Does it feel very relatable to you? Because in that way it felt very relatable to me. So I actually didn't rate this book. I left it unrated on Goodreads. I still don't know how to give it a rating because I don't really know how I feel about it. I don't really know what I read. Like, am I rating this based on horror? Because that's sort of how it was pitched to me, was like horror / dark academia. It's like, am I rating it on horror? Am I rating it on like literary fiction, dark academia vibes? Am I rating it on literary fiction? Is it more magical realism? Like, I have no idea where to put it, so I have no idea who its peers are, and I don't know how to rate it. So I am leaving it unstarred. And so this was a new buy. This was something that I purchased in October, and I read it within the month. So that's lovely. The next book I talked about in my spooky October reading vlog, and I will leave that linked above as well, and that is Lakewood by Megan Giddings. This is horror by a woman of color, so Megan Giddings is a Black woman. This looks at, I think, the history of medical racism, like the racism in medical studies. So Lakewood follows Lena, who ends up signing up for this really sketchy sounding medical research study after her grandmother passes away. Her grandmother has been the primary caregiver of Lena's mother, who has an undiagnosed medical condition. She is chronically ill and cannot work, and so between the two of them, the grandmother had hospital bills, the mother has hospital bills, Lena has to find a way to pay their medical debt and to give her mother the care that she needs. And so she agrees to this study that refuses to give her any information. She has to sign an NDA before she even knows what the study is on. Things unfold from there. If you are familiar with the history of some of the medical studies, the incredibly racist studies that have been done on Black Americans, like, it is deeply unsettling, and it does a really good job of drawing on the intersections of class and race, of looking at the institutions that facilitate this racism. It was a dark read. Horror as in very real, because there are historical roots for it. I gave it 4 to 5 stars, and again, this was a new buy. I pulled some books from my Women of Horror reading list, and I picked them up in October for some spooky October reads. I would definitely recommend picking it up if you are looking for something a little bit unsettling. Then I borrowed from the library and listened to the audiobook of Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. So this has been on my list for a while. I saw it on book tables a lot at Indigo, in like the bestseller walls. Like it shows up a lot of places, and there was a skip the line audiobook for it, and I figured why not? So while doing laundry and doing a little bit of driving the few weekends ago, I listened to this story. And so this is the story of a Chinese American family in the 1970s. So the mother is white, the father is Chinese, and the children are biracial. And they are living in the 1970s in small town Ohio, and life is fucking tough because racism. The story really kicks off when the family's favorite child, Lydia, they have spent all this time and energy doting on Lydia, pushing her to be a doctor like the mom always dreamed of being, like to the point of neglecting their other children, like completely ignoring their youngest daughter. When Lydia's body is found in the lake, that is where the story starts. And so you get to witness the life and the experiences of this family from 4 different perspectives. So the mother, the father, the brother, and the youngest daughter. Sometimes you will see the same thing from 2 different perspectives, and you will see how people misinterpret each other and how assumptions about how other people think often fail. I found it a very compelling audiobook to listen to. I thought the messiness of the family was really interesting. I thought the dangling carrot of what happened to Lydia was super interesting. I would not pitch this as like a mystery. It is definitely more of a quiet family story than a thriller, but that little dangling carrot of how did this teenage girl die? Definitely compelling. No spoilers, but after all of this buildup, all of this like juicy family messiness, I found the ending a little bit of a letdown, and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, and I am glad that I borrowed it. I finally sort of ticked off Celeste Ng because she's an author that you hear a lot about. I do have a copy of Little Fires Everywhere, and I am excited to pick that up as well now that I've gotten a taste of her writing, because her writing is beautiful. Even though I didn't quite like how this ending was executed, I loved the messiness of the characters and the peopling. Just the peopling. Sometimes it's nice to have like a quiet people book where you're just watching the characters. I think if you're looking for a good audiobook, a good like messy family narrative, I would definitely recommend picking up Everything I Never Told You. However, I'm probably like one of the last people to read that book, so you know. So those are the last 3 things that I read in October. I am trying to keep these videos shorter because I have looked at the analytics and longer videos don't super perform well, so I'm trying to make these wrap-ups occur more frequently with fewer books. So do let me know how you feel about having the wrap-up broken or limited to like 3 to 5 books. That would be much appreciated. Also let me know if you've read any of these books, what you thought of these books. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you patrons for making videos like this possible. I really appreciate the work that you enable me to do. If you are interested in becoming a patron, links to the Patreon page are in the description box down below. Currently, the Red Rum Book Club is on book 3 of the Dark Tower series. We are going to be reading the first part, Jake's book, together, and then discussing it in a live show at the end of the month. So if you're interested in joining in the book club, that's open to patrons at all tiers, so for as little as $1, you can get in on that. I hope you all are staying safe, that you're doing okay, and I will see you soon. Bye.